Hey guys, Bronze here with some news. This past Tuesday, ArenaNet announced their fall and winter 2021 release schedule. Interestingly, I don't see anything about the Steam release on there. I would have thought that would be coming before the expansion drops, but they have been quite silent about that recently, so I don't know if that's even in the pipeline anymore. Anyways, that's not what immediately caught my eye. Obviously, the most exciting thing coming before the expansion, something we haven't heard much about since it was announced. Something we still have almost no details on. On September 21st, the same day as the new Elite Spec beta, right here, the DirectX 11 beta. That's right, less than 1 month from now, we'll be able to play Guild Wars 2 on a modern updated graphics engine with no mods or third-party software involved. Please allow me a moment of your time to explain why this is possibly the most exciting thing ArenaNet has ever announced, second only to announcing Guild Wars 2 itself. I'll begin by doing my best to explain my perspective. I'm not a computer scientist or engineer, I don't work with software or anything like that. I'm just a guy who plays video games on the internet. I do, however, have a rather unique perspective that comes from my experience trying to optimize Guild Wars 2 over the years. When I started playing this game back in 2013, I had an Alienware gaming laptop that was best in its class in 2008. It had an Intel i7 quad-core with hyperthreading and an integrated NVIDIA 580 graphics chip. Obviously, the game was new and my laptop was old, so I didn't expect much. For the most part though, I got more than I expected. The open world ran buttery smooth with medium graphics. I could even do world versus world with my guild at minimum graphics and didn't see significant frame rate drops. The only time I would get below 30 FPS would be during things like world bosses because I didn't care enough to turn the graphics down. I also didn't care much that I wasn't experiencing the high-end graphics that others could enjoy. Then, everything changed when Windows 10 attacked. I very much enjoyed Windows 7, but my laptop came with Windows 8, which I did not enjoy so much. When I saw that Windows 10 was more like Windows 7, I dropped Windows 8 like a hot potato and got Windows 10 installed. I immediately saw a huge difference in gameplay. Exact same hardware, exact same graphics settings, exact same game. I would get half the frames if I was lucky after upgrading to Windows 10. I tried everything in the book to fix things. NVIDIA optimization, Razer Synapse I think had a feature that told your PC to put more power into processing games. Eventually Microsoft added a gaming mode to Windows 10. I even got a special cooling pad for my laptop to keep everything as cool as possible. None of it helped in any noticeable way. I dropped the game for a while, took some college classes, went to Europe with my best friend, and eventually came back. Same hardware, same problems. I dug deep this time. I knew the problem was more to do with my CPU than my GPU. A lot of other players were having similar issues, and the consensus was that Windows 10 uses more CPU space in a less optimized way than previous versions, and there wasn't really anything to be done about it. It was around this time that I started raiding as well, and I kid you not, I was learning to play a DPS Ellie while getting about 15 FPS most of the time, often dipping into single digits mid-encounter. Well, I wasn't happy with that, so I took a different approach and downloaded Ubuntu 14.1. It took a hell of a lot of work to get the software I was used to work on the new OS. After trying for about 6 months and seeing marginal improvements for my efforts, I gave up and dropped the game again. Over the next couple of years I would play on and off, but I was never again interested enough to dig into these sorts of problems. Apparently, at some point, a modder released a DirectX 11 proxy that did actually make a difference for a lot of people, but I never heard about it until much later. I have a much better PC now and my game experience is improved, but for years, including what I consider to be the golden age of Guild Wars 2, my PC was struggling to actually run the game the whole time. All this is to say that I know there's a lot of people out there still struggling with these issues, and when I heard that DirectX 11 could fix things, I got probably way too excited on their behalf, because I get it. I was there. Now, what's the deal with DirectX 11? As I said, I'm not a software engineer. All I know is what I've read on the internet and seen other creators say. Everybody seems to agree that DirectX 11 will improve the way the game plays, but why? As far as I can tell, for most people, it will unlock a new fix for a problem that I used to have. Running Windows 10 on lower grade hardware while trying to play a very CPU intensive game like Guild Wars 2 is not currently optimized. The way I understand it, the part of the game that depends on the CPU cannot be programmed on DirectX 9 to efficiently use hyperthreading, which most modern CPUs feature. Because of this, the game is throttled, either by using fewer cores or by having to run error correction programs to account for mismatched processing streams. I believe this was the exact problem my old laptop was running into. With Windows 8, I could run medium graphics, the game would run fine, and my integrated graphics chip could handle it without any concerns. Nothing changed about the graphics chip or anything related to it, so the only thing that could have caused massive frame rate drops was a slowdown in the CPU, which is exactly what people much smarter than me were saying at the time. So how does DirectX 11 fix this problem? Well, I don't know the details, but I do know that DirectX 11 supports hyperthreading. It's built into the framework of the graphics engine. When the game runs on a DirectX 11 engine, it can much more efficiently thread between cores, using more processing power to deliver better results. This sounds exactly like the solution that I was searching for all those years and never found. Obviously, the solution I found was get a better computer, but that's not an option for a lot of people. It certainly wasn't for me until fairly recently. DirectX 11 is a big move that is going to make the game more playable for more people. By the way, even if you don't struggle to run the game, DirectX 11 is great for you too, as it lets ArenaNet go crazy with new design textures and better 3D modeling. I know even less about this aspect of DirectX 11 because quite frankly I don't care, but prepare for Guild Wars 2 to look better than it could right now in your wildest dreams. Somehow, even better than the excitement I feel on behalf of the player base with low-end hardware is the mixture of relief and hope that this kind of development brings to an old vet like myself. Near the end of the Icebridge saga, after End of Dragons was announced, there was a lot of unrest in the community, fueled in part by apparent unrest at the studio. Obviously, whatever problems were going on have been fixed or pushed aside, and everybody is coming together to make End of Dragons the best expansion it can be. But there were chatterings not very long ago about ArenaNet dropping Guild Wars 2 after the expansion. Even before they came out and said that was not the case, I knew. I knew the moment they announced work on DirectX 11. This excitement is twofold. First, there is no way ANET would invest the development time on something like this unless it would pay off for a long time to come. Second, there's no real reason to do this unless they have big plans for the game moving forward. Unlocking higher graphics and better performance with DX11 is great, but that alone is not enough. If it was, they would have done this a long time ago. The reason they're doing it now is because they have plans for the future that they know will pay off even bigger on a new graphics engine. And that is the most exciting part. I see a lot of content creators covering the news release, and obviously they're excited about Elite Spec betas and World v World restructuring and obviously End of Dragons. And don't get me wrong, I am too. Not enough people get excited about the DX11 progress though, and in my opinion, it is the most exciting thing currently in the works. I love Guild Wars 2, and DirectX 11 can unlock the game's true potential, just in time for End of Dragons to launch another golden age and catapult Guild Wars 2 to the upper echelon of MMOs where it belongs. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to do the YouTube things and click on the stuff. Come hang out on stream here on YouTube sometime. My friend AJ and I are working on the newly re-released Living World story, getting him caught up to everything before End of Dragons comes. It's a lot of fun, and I'd love to see you there. Have a great day.